Welcome back to our instructional design discussion on Can Technology Help Learning? And in this session, we'll focus on accessibility. Now, we'll define accessibility as what you get when you combine mobile resources, mobile computing with internet resources, and we'll see how. So, first we get affordable mobile devices, and the world's best e-reader is the Amazon Kindle, and that's now selling for in the neighborhood of $69. Keep in mind that it holds 1,000 books, potentially all of the books that students would need for their school career. Now, we need to place this in context. Amazon, the world's biggest bookseller, has sold more ebooks over the last 3 years than books printed on paper. This is a change, a historic change, one that we will probably kind of continue forward with, seeing more and more ebooks and fewer paper as we move to the future. Now, schools are moving on this mobility. The Los Angeles Unified School District, for example, is committed to purchasing an iPad for each of its over 500,000 students. That's $2 billion over 2 years. Half of that money will go to buy the iPads and software and insurance and so on. The other half will go to support the increased infrastructure, internet access, and Wi-Fi. Now, this has already begun in the fall of 2013. Just within weeks, teachers noted connectivity issues, kids bypass security. They're putting a halt to the program while they resolve some of these issues. But it's noteworthy to note that this is a $700 per iPad initiative. So they're going with the top-of-the-line mobile device. They're purchasing content and software, expanding wireless. They're doing this partly so that every student will be able to access ebooks and internet resources. Now, are they paying a lot for ebooks or not? Well, if we use the California example, they have formally adopted a number of free e-texts by CK12.org, which specializes in writing a whole bunch of textbooks that are free to teachers or anybody for almost any subject in middle and high school. And you might think, oh, are they any good? Well, they're written on the model of Wikipedia, where interested experts contribute their time to write them. But it's noteworthy that the world's most up-to-date physics book, 21st Century Physics, created at the behest of the Commonwealth of Virginia, is one of these free ebooks. You can't pay for this best physics book. You can only get it free. So we've talked about low-cost devices. We've talked about some free curriculum. How low can we go? You may not have heard of the Indian Akash 3 tablet. It's an Android tablet. It has Wi-Fi. You can get online courses. In India, over the past year, hundreds of thousands of kids have piloted it, and it is currently under evaluation for schools in San Francisco and North Carolina. And how much does this cost? Well, the cost is $40 each. And the Indian government, since there are many poor people in India, wants to subsidize half of the cost and give it to Indian kids and their families for $20 each. Now, these ideas of providing one device for every kid are not new. So for over a decade, the Henrico County School District, that's Richmond, Virginia, has given 36,000 laptops to every 6th to 12th grader, where they take it home at night, bring it back for each school day. And they've had few problems with loss or breakage. They are big fans of the program. A year later, all Maine 7th and 8th graders were provided a laptop by the state of Maine. And by a decade later, now, almost every high school in the state of Maine provides mobile devices for their 9th through 12th grade students. This is not just a secondary phenomenon. So in 2008, all elementary students in Birmingham, Alabama, were given a laptop like this. And it is personal, so notice the logo on each one has a different color X and O. The idea is that it is a personal device. Mine is different from yours. I can spot mine across the room. It's different from yours. This did not start in the US, though. The first laptop school was in Melbourne, Australia. Here's the proud principal leading his kids. The laptops were huge then, and you needed to be a wealthy school to afford that. Australia continues to be a hotbed of one-to-one schools, but what about poor communities? Well, Extremadura, Spain is one of the poorest regions in Western Europe. And over a decade ago, they achieved a 1 computer to every 2 student computer ratio. So you don't have to be wealthy to do this. As a matter of fact, if you think of the country of Uruguay, the first one to provide a laptop for every school student in the nation, Uruguay is not the wealthiest country in the world. All it takes is commitment. Let's come up to today. So as of 2013, the hottest topic in schools is bring your own device or bring your own technology, because mobile technology is ubiquitous in many students' homes. They'd rather use their own technology rather than what is provided by the school. Now, this is not something that is radically new since the 1990s. This is what's happened in business throughout the Middle East and in Russia and Brazil and other places. So it's starting big time in the US K-12, and that eliminates the final cost hurdle to schools that want to move forward. Where are we today in curriculum? Well, most of us have heard of the Khan Academy, where Salman Khan has provided about 3,000 internet videos mostly on K-12 math and science, and they've been viewed over 300 million times. It's one of the most successful curriculum implementations of all time. In other news, Bill Gates is funding the Big History Project, a free online high school course. And in higher ed, over the past 2 years, the big news has been Coursera, edX, and Udacity providing hundreds of free university-level courses at no cost. So let's see what you remember. First, why do schools adopt mobile devices? Is it A, because they don't take up much room and they want to get their computer labs back as regular classrooms? Or B, the government funds them through grants, so they want to take advantage of that? Or C, to access e-books and resources? And the second question, what's the main obstacle to mobile devices? How come all the districts don't do that? Is it A, well, they still cost too much? Or B, the districts are not yet committed to doing that? Or C, the laptops are too easily stolen or lost and districts don't want to get that problem. So pause the video, answer the questions, and when you resume, we'll find out how you did. Welcome back. And why do schools adopt mobile devices? Well, it's because there's a lot of great resource in the internet, courses and ebooks. The only way to access it is if every student has a device. And the main obstacle is not cost anymore, and people were afraid of them being lost or stolen, and that just hasn't happened in any big way. The problem is that some schools and administrators are still not committed. So what we've seen is a perfect storm of accessibility. And this has been created by 3 items: low-cost devices that are both personal and mobile. And with those low-cost devices, you can get onto the internet and you can access a whole host of fantastic low-cost learning resources. Thank you.